Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. Last time we had a look at the Shrine of Amana, or the Shrine of Pain, and today we are going to have a look at the Undead Crypt. And as you can see, the door is already open, and this is because I did an oopsie. So, there are some character dialogues, specifically one character dialogue, that I can't do anymore today, which is the one with Aldia, because I just did it and I didn't record. Isn't that great? Yeah. But that shouldn't be a problem, because I'm more here for the game and world design rather than the lore of the game. I'm not really good at lore here. I'm just not. But yeah, let's come in. Let's go in and take another elevator ride down there. I feel like, right, a lot of areas here are connected via elevators. Especially a lot of new areas, right? A lot of transitions are made by an elevator. And I'm not really a fan of that, I must say. Like, how amazing would it be to have a very long staircase, ominous looking staircase, similar to the Throne of One's staircase? I'm just saying similar, not exactly the same. Ooh, what's going on? Not exactly the same thing, but instead of having a boring ass elevator, it would have been more fun, I think. Like having a more physical connection to these different parts. Because right now, there is no physical connection between these two areas. Sure, we have an elevator, but, you know, there's no... Like, there's space in between these areas right now. There's not a staircase or a long path or something. It's just, oh, you're standing here, waiting a few moments, and you're there. I'm not a fan of that. Not really a fan. But we are being greeted by this hall here. By the high hall here. And if you have a look at the ceiling, I guess it's the ceiling. It's completely black. Maybe it's just an empty space. But I think it's supposed to be the ceiling. I don't know, it feels kind of weird having a pitch black ceiling here. Or if it's not pitch black, if it's supposed to be like more room upwards, but for some reason completely pitch black, then they did a bad job with the lighting, I must say. I mean, they did a bad job with the lighting anyways, because the ceiling is not there, but it's theirs, I guess, or not. Kind of weird. But yeah. So, where are we right now? Undead Crypt. Pretty interesting area. Lore-wise, probably. And gameplay-wise, also. Because it has a few unique enemies. And a few, let's call them unique mechanics. Unique to this area. They're using these mechanics quite often. But nonetheless, it's an interesting mechanic they're going to introduce here. Or a few interesting mechanics. And if you don't know, if you only have played the Skull of the First Sin edition and not the older version of the game, then you might not know that the bonfire that was originally, the bonfire wasn't originally over there, it was underneath the stairs here. And luckily enough, if you ever look at this wall here, that for some reason is dividing the underneath part of the staircase, then these holes in the wall are... Have a look. Doesn't that look weird? With these random ass square holes in the wall that aren't even aligned to the bricks. Kinda weird. Not gonna lie. Why are they even there? Probably so you can see the bonfire from the other side, I guess. The bonfire that isn't there anymore. But I guess There are two reasons why they moved this bonfire. First one, it's more visible here. And second one, if you activate this bonfire, Aldia will spawn and talk to you. And they probably didn't want to fit him underneath this staircase. They're doing this in a later area where he actually becomes a miniature version of himself. Because the space is so tight, but not here. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going into the crypt. And, well, here we have two Cyan Knights. Not Cyanites, Cyan Knights. These are the, I guess, the Royal Guard. They're guarding Vendrick, and that's why they're here. To guard Vendrick. And they're quite a nuisance. I'm not really a fan of the ones with the long weapons, because they tend to block more often than the sword versions. And I don't like blocking enemies. Like, they're completely fine. I just personally don't like them. That's not meant to be a... this game is so bad because they have blocking enemies, like these, for example. Hey. Don't come out yet, I wanted to talk about something. Oh man. Okay, let me quickly get rid of these enemies. I really need to... But no, I don't wanna... I need the enemies to attack me here. Torch Hollow, I wanna test something out with you. Are you insane? So... These are interesting, these pillar things here. Are kinda interesting because they're asymmetrical. They have like one side that doesn't have this window, and it's always in the same orientation for some reason. I think they just didn't want to rotate them. Kinda weird. There's a lot of weird things in here. Specifically there's a spam room, because here we are introduced to... that's loud. Here we are introduced to the... Are they called Ladia witches or something like that? And they like to spam spells. Isn't that nice? And if you approach them, they have other spells. Some kind of firestorm. Oh no, this is not a poison cloud or dark fog, how it's called. They can hit with their staff. They have a bunch of spells. And sadly enough, by the way, if you can farm them for their staff, and it's the staff that can cast every spell except pyromancies for some reason, even though these witches are clearly casting pyromancies. And I'm kinda disappointed that you can't do it with the staff anymore, because I believe they've... Oh, there it is. I believe they've planned this thing to be used with pyromancies as well. But again, as so often in this game, I think they kind of went overboard with the enemies. Feels like a bit too many enemies, like too many witches at least. The hollows are fine, I guess, but the witches are a bit annoying. I can also summon Devotee Scarlet here. I might summon her for the boss later on. That could be interesting. I can probably drag her to the entire area. But let's meet the first mechanic of the game, and here we have one of these shadowy dudes again. Still don't know what's the deal with them, why they implemented them, but who cares. Oh? Why no dialogue? Hello?
Halt.
Ah, here, okay.
Human, do not produce light. Light, and all those who bear it, are unwelcome in this place.
I bet I sadly killed the torch hollow. But I bet if you... Oh, this is what I wanted to test. Because if you're walking in here with a torch, then these enemies here, plus this NPC here, will attack you. Which is interesting. I wanted to test that, but sadly Torch Hollow ran into my sword, or something like that. Let's call it, he ran into my sword.
I am Undead, guardian of the Crypt. Countless dead rest here in peace, cradled by the comfort of dark. Light only agitates. We have no need for it here. I am a finito. We weave death and watch over the dead. This task was granted to me by the one who gave us the first death.
Nito, maybe?
Souls rest here. Some of them from ages long ago. Some were rich, others poor. Some wise, some dull, but now they're all just dead. Did you come for him? The one called Vendrick?
Yes. How do you know?
You will find him deeper inside. Many castle servants and the like have come to fetch their lord. But they rest here now, put to death by the king's own guards. Perhaps he's not in the mood for company. In the past, humans were one with the dark. The former king of light, he feared humans. Feared that they would usher in an age of dark. How queer you humans. How you go on, never separating truth from fiction.
Says the one who literally looks like a human. Or maybe humans look like him, except the blue skin color, I guess.
This place is welcome to all, provided due reverence is shown. Death is equitable, accepting. We will all one day be welcomed by her embrace. Tell me what you desire. Show me reverence, and I will lend you my hand.
Sure.
Crude human. Do as you please.
He says crude because I didn't spend any souls at his shop. Kinda... this kinda reminds me of some dude standing at, like, whatever, wanting to sell you some trash, like you're a tourist in a city. Like you're a tourist, and then some street dude comes and wants to sell you stuff. Like when you don't sell, or when you don't buy anything, they're like, how can't you buy anything, crude human? It kind of reminds me of that. But this is where I'm going to do a cut. I'm going to record. I'm going to keep recording a bit later. Small cut for you. Okay, I'm back. A few hours later. Where was I? Right, this is where Arcane is, and this is where the game tells us one mechanic in this area. Granted, this part of the mechanic isn't really that fleshed out, so to speak, because he said to us, don't produce any light, which means if I come in here with a torch, he and his fellow grave wardens, I think that's what they're called, are going to attack me. And I guess you wouldn't make him angry, and even if you don't kill him, I don't know, like, you can later on summon him for the boss in this area. I guess when you anger him, you can't do that anymore. I wonder what happens if he kills you. Like, You go in with a torch, he kills you, you respawn, you go in without a torch, if he's still aggressive or if he forgives you or something. Don't know what the case is there. But seemingly there's a mechanic with don't produce any lights. Okay, sad thing is that we are now out of his room. Like, there is even a light here. Like, there are torches here, there are fires burning, so it's just really just this one little room here, which is kinda disappointing in some way, and I'm kinda happy in the other way, because this game is looks really great with lighting. Like with fire, with torches, it looks really great. And if you take out that feature, all of the sudden it's no longer that good looking. As you can see in this room, there's no light here, but I can see just fine. Where's the light coming from? Why is my character so bright? All of these things. But yeah, okay, maybe they could have used some kind of ghost flame, where fire is not okay, but a ghost flame is. Similar to the ghost flame in Elden Ring, like this white, bluish, blackish flame, where the white has a bit of blue in it. But yeah, don't produce any light, and the rule is already thrown out of the window, partially, because we have these things, and he warned us. And this mechanic is also so underused, like, you don't need light here to see, that is the problem. They could have played with the idea of, okay, you can't see shit, but then you're safe, or you're using the torch and you can see stuff, and you're somewhat in danger. They could have used that. Maybe again by increasing the aggro range for certain enemies, like they did in the previous area. At least they could have played with that thought. What happens if you light these things here is you will summon these red phantoms. They have a mace that can cast spells, as you can see, and that's it. They're not particularly difficult. I think they're somewhat tanky. Let's see, yeah. Quite a bit of HP. Sadly, the torch here isn't really illuminating that much. I'm going to talk about this room later on when we turn on the lights here. Because we can turn on the lights. Of course we can. You can already see there's a message down there. This is a message written by the developers, because I'm currently offline. I'm not cheating online. So there's that. You can jump down here, and that actually makes sense to jump down here. Let me just get rid of this fog wall. I don't really get why they place random ass fog walls somewhere. I mean, for boss arenas it sometimes makes sense, but for this, is it like a fake out or has it any other purpose? Let's just jump down here, because that's where we can turn on the lights. We just burn the statue. And it should, yeah. And it is illuminating this room. When it is revealed, the shadows rise. And these are the shadows, I guess. One more. Yeah, okay. And now I can talk about this room, because it really looks cool. Let me just get back up there. For some reason he's looking the wrong direction, even though the player can't come from this direction. He's still looking in the wrong direction, but I guess it makes sense thematically, because as someone who works here or who is standing here, you wouldn't expect someone to come from here. So I kind of appreciate this. Like, you wouldn't expect someone to jump down here, and you can see, and then the red phantom over there as well. I think I've triggered every red phantom here now. But this place is very interesting. Something that I missed before the cut, and I had time to think about. When we talked to Akdane, he was referring to death or something as a she. And I think it was death or something similar. I think the cold embrace of death, like her embrace or something. I'm going to talk about this mechanic later on. Let me out of here. Because where is it? Let me quickly go back without the torch. You're not angry, are you? No, good. Oop. I also don't know what happens if I attack his Grave Wardens. Oh, there's one here too. There are two here. Interesting. Usually, I never go back here. Oh, there's a light up there. Where's this light coming from? Where's this light up there coming from? Is there a candle or something? But I wanted to talk about this imagery of death. Or the Reaper or whatever. Right. Fragrant branch of your interest. Okay, I didn't know that. Because I wanted to have a look at these things here. Because if you can see, that's a female figure. Like, this is definitely a female looking character here. But with a skull as a face. And strangely enough, the hands are not skeleton hands, they still have flesh on it. And people are praying in front of her. Or to her, some of them. And she has this embracing, she's doing this embracing gesture. Like, she's not evil towards them, that's what I mean. And why would she? Maybe, probably also comforting, she's trying to comfort them, like comforting the dead ones, the dying ones. But yeah, let's go, let's keep going. And I think now is or soon, I get rid of this dude here. Oop. Almost fell down as well. Because I want to talk about this. Shit. Can they stop coming? Like, I want to talk about the world design here. I don't wanna bitch about this level design. I'm going to do that later on, but now I want to talk about the world design because the world design here is amazing. Like, especially this bridge and what this bridge here could resemble. Because we came from here. We came from there and then the elevator, and this is, I treat this maybe even in this room here inclusive, like this, all of this is the entrance to this area. And now this is technically also part of the entrance. And once we cross this bridge, we are officially in the crypt. And to me, this rift here, this seemingly endless rift between two sides, the side of the living over here, and the side of the dead over here, kind of resembles a different realm, so to speak. Because it's kind of the opposite from the white transition that we have in between, like in Dark Souls 1, where you place a Lord Vessel, this room where you place a Lord Vessel, and the kiln of the first flame. You're going through a portal, so to speak. You're going through this white void, like the staircase surrounded by the white void. And this feels similar to that, where you are crossing this bridge through the black void. I mean, if it's really the case, if there is some ground down there, it doesn't matter. At least not to me right now, because I really like this sword, and I accept, even for world design, like world design wise, that there is no ground. There is no ceiling here. Maybe there's a ceiling, but it's basically you're crossing the bridge into the realm of the dead, basically. And now let's go to the level design. That's enough world design for now. Now let's go over to the level design. So far, fairly linear. Now we're in this area, and there are a few strange things. A few strange things. One of them, like, not necessarily this drop, right? Because it's connected via ladders. That's fine. But the next drop over here is not connected via ladders, so it's a bit strange. There doesn't seem to be a ladder here, because you can drop down here. When you drop down here, you're greeted by some undead. It doesn't matter. And you have this strange area. You can climb up here. I mean, technically, right? Technically speaking, you could access this ladder from there. Just not in the game. But technically in real life, you could easily grab this ladder and climb up here from over there. So I guess that's that. Not a fan of this trap. Can I even hurt this ghost? I don't know how much damage I deal, but can I even... Yeah, nah. I mean, does he smack you no matter what? Or can you evade the attack by sprinting up the ladder, or by strategically dropping down, or something like this? I don't know. Not a fan of that, because on a ladder you are almost invulnerable. Not invulnerable, you're vulnerable to many attacks, that's what I mean. And, well, nah. Wall ghosts are fine, but not when you're climbing up a ladder. I see this item down there, by the way, I don't care. Why are the lights not on here? There's clearly one of these statues here. I can see the silhouette of one of these hooded figures here. And these are enemies that we will encounter soon enough. I guess these are the guardians of this area. Guardian spirits. Because now we are in this room. And this room is irritating. Every room from now on is irritating because of this mechanic. In theory, it's a pretty cool mechanic. It seems to be a graveyard, but you have oddly a lot of bells here, and you also have, let me light a torch, these oh, come on, you have to destroy them. Get past them. Oh, come on. You have these stones over. Yep. You heard it. Goodbye, silence. Goodbye, silence. Okay, I don't want to turn off the sound completely, but I want to turn it down. Because let's talk about this room. So there are a bunch of bells. Then you have these, let's call them guardian stones. And you have a graveyard where there are a lot of undead spawning. They come out of the ground. And you have a few skeletons that will assemble here. They have fixed areas. I'm not really sure if these undead will spawn indefinitely or if there is a maximum of undead that can spawn in total, but it doesn't matter. The mechanic is interesting, right? The undead will spawn, they will notice you, and they will hit a bell. And when they hit the bell, you hear that loud bell ringing, and every of these guardian stones corresponding to that bell, I guess, will spawn one of these floating hooded guardian dudes. You can see they have no legs, they have no feature. They're basically a cloak, a sword, and a shield. The sword is special, the sword can cast spells. You can farm the sword, and sadly your sword can only cast sorceries. They also cast pyromancy, but we can't do that, sadly. And that's the mechanic. You can destroy these headstones. Or not headstones, you can destroy these guardian stones. They will not respawn, and from now on this stone can't spawn one of these guardians here anymore. Let's see what they are called. Lydia White Hood. Let's see if they are called guardian. Where is it? Down there. Okay. Lydia Apostles in their conceit occupied the Undead Crypt and misused death. Maybe they are not the guardian. Ah, okay. Interesting enough, they're called pyromancers. So they're not guardians of this place, even though seemingly their image is being used as these statues, which is strange. But okay, they're not the guardians, but somehow I guess this place keeps them alive somehow, or something, because it says they're misusing death. Maybe by being immortal or something? Hey, let me use my death to become immortal. Isn't that something to think about? But yeah, this is the mechanic of this place. Do I dare and turn up the volume again? Do I dare? Ah, fuck it. I'm done with explaining this place, so I can walk through here a bit more with a higher pace, I guess. So, in this area we have two ways to proceed. We have to, we can go through the main entrance, or I rang the bell. Ah, sorry for the sound, but I'm not going to turn down the volume every time I hear the bell ringing. And I guess these witches are also part of, I mean, they're called Lydia Witch, and the others are pyromancers. So, strangely, I don't know, it's kind of strange. Like, the mechanic is a clusterfuck. It, like, on paper, this idea of the undead ringing the bells and then summoning the dudes, on paper it's a good idea, right? So the player needs to be quick, the player needs to get rid of the undead before they ring the bells, or the player needs to destroy these stones before they're getting overwhelmed. On paper it's a good idea, but The bells are extremely annoying. And I don't know, this mechanic just doesn't work. I mean, it works, clearly it works, but it just doesn't feel good to play through this area. I mean, it's headache-inducing, the sound of the bells, and bracing Necroring +2, right here, pretty good. Like, the fact that they have spells that have a long range is also not helping. I think this mechanic could have been much more pleasant if they're not spawning this type of enemy. And there's a wall ghost. I think it would work much better if you could, but if they would spawn like a more slower, a more brutey type enemy. But then this whole section had a different vibe, so I'm not sure how to make this mechanic a bit like, you don't want to just gut it, right? You have this mechanic, you just don't want to get rid of it. But you also have to lean into this mechanic, right? You just don't half-ass it, because if you half-ass something, then it can never be good. Similar to the many mechanics they've tried to introduce, but they didn't go far enough with them. For example, with the torch mechanic, like it should be pitch black in here. Maybe not. It should be pitch black in some areas of this area, or in some areas of this game, but it's never really pitch black. Like, you can always see where you're going. Even if you're underground, if there is no light source, your character's glowing like a Christmas tree, and you can make out your surroundings. It's not that hard. And you're not forced to use some kind of light source. Which definitely would benefit some areas. I mean, then you can drop maybe some enemies, like the frequency of enemy appearances, like reduce the enemy density, that's what I mean, and it would be fine. But no, you don't need a torch in this game. You don't need it in the gutter, you need it in no area. And this area would definitely benefit from torch gameplay. Specifically Crypt. It's supposed to be dark in here, isn't it? Like, Dane warned me to not produce light. But maybe the reason why there is light in the Crypt is because of the Ledia dudes. And isn't Ledia a Pokemon or something? Like, every time, I don't know what the correct name of that Pokemon is, but I always think about this Ladybug Pokemon thing. Isn't it called something like that? Very close to that. This corridor is also very... Actually, that is kind of a cool corridor. Right, you have these... Like, first of all, if we have a look at the walls, you can see there are a bunch of skeletons built into the wall. I guess kind of reminiscent of the what's it called, the Paris Underground or something. Like, isn't that something that was done in Paris? Like underground, big underground system where they just bury the dead in the walls, basically. Like here, similar to this. Maybe, probably also in many other places, but I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the Paris story there. Catacombs of Paris or something. But yeah, you have a bunch of wall ghosts that you want to get rid of, and then you have these two double shield dudes. And these can be a bit tricky. First of all, you need to trigger them so that they like get rid of their shield, of their block. And then you have to fight 2 of them at once, which can be a daunting task. Definitely. It's not really fun to fight blocking enemies. Especially if you can't really break their guard. This room is strange. Like, first of all, of course it's strange because you have to drop down for some reason. What the fuck is that? World design? What's going on? Huh? Like, in real life this height would be something. I wouldn't want to jump down there just unprepared or something. Like, that's a drop. But on the other hand, like, okay, we have this drop down, kind of weird, but okay. Having this circle lets it look like another kind of portal or something, like portal imagery, entering the realm of the dead, even though you are already in the realm of the dead. But what is kind of strange about the design of these statues in this room is that they don't have a skull face. It's seemingly the same image as we've seen before in the entrance, where you had these figures carved into the stone or chiseled into the stone, but they had a skull face, and I think it's the exact same. Or maybe not completely. I think the other figure was more hooded and of course had a skull face, but the rest of the body looks fairly similar, like the robes and stuff. Might be the same one. Kind of strange that they don't have a skull face here. So lets me think that this is this figure is not resembling Death, or maybe it is, and it's just a different image of her. I guess the architects, like there were multiple architects or multiple designers at place here, and they weren't really briefed correctly or something. Like, oh, I want this figurine here. And then this one forgot to make the skull figure, and we can see another dude sitting here. 2 other dudes sitting here. What is the deal with them? Like, do I get something special when I get all of them in the entire game? Oh, petrified something. Nice drop, I guess. But yeah, this room down here is hell. Of course, the reason why it's a one-way trip is to induce panic in the player. It's a point of no return, and what happens if we drop down here is hopefully the following. Hello. Nothing happens. Ah, now it starts. Dude is spawning, another dude is spawning, and we have 1, 2, 3 stones, 4 stones in every corner here. And then there is a, oh, this is the way out, sorry for that. And then there is a 5th stone over there, which is definitely overwhelming. Let me just get rid of these stones. I sadly cannot get rid of the bells. That would be amazing if you could just destroy the bell. But I don't think they have a limited amount of HP. Maybe they have, and I've never done it correctly. But the problem here is, and I guess that's the intention behind this area, is if you're going into the wrong path, you're basically dead. If I'm not invincible in here, I would be dead. 100%. There's no way of getting out of here. While 2 at a time are blocking me, the rest are casting spells. No way. Like two of these ghosts are wailing at me, and no, you don't survive this. So you wanna aim for the room with for the wide room, basically, with this thing in the middle. And the others are basically death traps. And of course you want to destroy these stones here, I still call them guardian stones. Because honestly, like, It's a stone. It's a stone with a dude guarding it. At least it looks like a guard. Can't tell me that this is not supposed to be a guardian stone. Even if the lore says maybe something different. I don't really know the lore behind Lydia and Lydia pyromancers and sorcerers or witches, whatever. And honestly, I don't really care. Because it's not... like, it's written. It is something written. It's not something that the game, that the world is visually telling me. It is something that someone wrote into the item description of an item. Which is kind of like, if the world is not reflecting that, it's kind of eh. But of course, sometimes, like, if something is a secret, right, in the world, in real life, and no one knows it, then, and you wanna convert that into game design, then of course no one should be able to notice it, right? Like let's say this area is being occupied by these Lydia dudes, but it's supposed to be a secret. Then it's definitely good design. It's good game design if the player doesn't notice it, I guess. Even though it feels strange, but... because the visual storytelling of this place is, and how the enemies behave in this area, is the following. You have these big-ass statues. Right, you have this. First of all, you have these torches. That when you light the torches, red phantoms will appear, punishing you for lighting a flame. When you light all the flames, you see these figures on the wall, like these bigger statues with their flames, like, which lets one think that these are some sort of guardians here. Then you come into one of these places, you have these stones, you have all of these bells, and the undead are aiming for the bells. It's not a coincidence that they hit the bell, right? It's intentional. They're doing this intentionally. So they're calling their guardians to protect this place. This is what the visual storytelling is. And then all of the sudden the item comes in, right? Let's go, oops. Let's go over here. And here it says, the Lady Apostles, in their conceit, occupied the undead crypt and misused death. This invoked the ire of Finito, who branded them as transgressors. Okay, so what? They're still guarding this crypt. Okay, the Finitos didn't do shit. Like, they kind of failed this place, didn't they? The Finitos failed in their mission. Like, shouldn't we see, like, this is probably the case why we don't see any more Grave Wardens here. Right? The reason why we don't see any more Grave Wardens here is because they got cast out, they got occupied by the Lydia. But then why are there Lydia witches in front? Then we see the remaining Finitos, and then we see more Lydia inside. That is also kind of strange. Like, do the Finitos not have the power to cast them out again? If they don't like them? And I mean, the fact that there are pyromancers and witches, like pyromancers in general, like, what is pyromancy? It's a flame, and they produce flames, and isn't that something that definitely shouldn't be something the Finito like? And yet they're not doing anything about that. Like the lady have infested this whole place. Like even there, you can't tell me that these robes, I mean, fine. Fine. These hooded figures look somewhat different. Somewhat. They don't wear the gauntlet, maybe the cape or the attire looks a bit different, but they're fairly similar. Right, they're fairly similar to the Lady of Pyromancers. So, I don't know. If they wanted to tell a different story here, they definitely failed in visual design. Because this is definitely telling a story of, like, to me, it's definitely telling a story to, oh, so you are trespassing here? The undead are going to, like, they're calling their guardians, and the guardians are defending this peaceful area. And I mean, of course this is level design, right? That there is a bridge here that is not yet functional, so the player can't just skip this whole area inside, but why the fuck is there even a bridge here to begin with? Like, world design wise, why would you have a bridge here? Huh? For what like a drawbridge, a bridge that you can, like, a bridge is fine, I mean a bridge that you can manually turn off and on only from one side, like, eh? Like, I can't see a reason for that, I can't think of a reason for that. I mean, I had to drop down here, that's also kind of strange. There is this hole you have to drop down, but let's not think too hard about it. And I guess this is the rich one's place. This is the rich people or noble person part of this, of the whole crypt. Again, apparently they have a caste system even in death. Because this clearly looks like, I mean, Vendrick is, well, past this. First of all, we have to fight through Vendrick's men that are protecting him still, or that are still loyal to him, but behind that is Vendrick, and I guess this whole room was built for royalty. Kind of cool imagery with the stuff on the ceiling, but I don't know what this is supposed to mean. Like, I have no idea what's the meaning of this. These are definitely the same statues as we've seen in this big hall here. Like, this is just this statue with the fire just scaled down. But why they're hanging from the ceiling, no idea. Looks good though. But yeah, this is also an asshole mechanic. Asshole area. Because, well, we have a bing bong boy here. Okay, I got him. The bell is safe. I can finally get him from. There's another one here. Holy shit. Oh, there's another undead. What the fuck is he doing? Okay, he's coming from the outside. Right. There's another phantom. Holy shit. Oh, what the fuck? They're respawning. Probably, I think here they're not respawning definitely, but... Okay, 3 undead so far. Do we hear another one rising from the ground? Because they will spawn more of them at these spots here. Like somewhere here, I don't know which part. Like, I think they're spawning 4 in total in this area. I don't really know at which spot, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, we're soon at the boss. Let me just quickly get rid of these guys. Of course, we have, I mean, a few knights here. Luckily, these are not the ones with the what's it, with the spear type weapons. the long weapons, so to speak. I must say the crit animations look great in this game. Cyanide, and then we have these. A Dragon Rider, of course, as a commander of some sort. Oh, come on, stop dodging. Just die already, tanks way too much. Holy shit, they can take a beating, that's for sure. Good. Now, we can summon someone here. This is Undead, having the old model. Very, very old model, and he has special moves. And I kinda wish the player could use these moves. But they cannot. And I guess this is even a special model for, like, this is not even an old model, but this is a special old model. Because he's using spells that, like, first of all, he's using spells without a spellcasting tool. But his moves are extremely cool. Sadly, he's a bad summon, but he's extremely weak. But, oh well. What I'm doing now is I'm walking all the way back to the beginning, because there I can summon Devotee or Devotee Scarlet or whatever her name is. Is that her name? Scarlet, and I can't remember. We can summon a Phantom over here, and that's what I want to do. As you know, I want to see them fight the boss. So, what's her name? Yeah, Scarlet, Devotee Scarlet. I was correct, good. Come on. Come on over here. I want to do your gesture, of course. Welcome. Good. Let's see if she attacks these. I don't think she attacks the Grave Wardens. Or maybe. Oh, I want to see something. Are you doing a no gesture or something? No? Oh. Okay. Maybe in here? No? Okay. I thought because they've programmed a few gestures in her in Earthen Peak, so maybe they did the same over here, where if the player has a torch out, she says no, 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 no. She's doing the no gesture. That would be cool. I would appreciate this, but sadly no. Not the case. But oh well, we can now summon Undead to fight the boss together with Devotee Scarlet. I don't think they can beat Velstad. Or do I need to... I don't care. No, I don't think that Undead needs to stay alive. But even if... I don't give a shit. His sword is pretty cool. Sadly, we can't use his sword like he can. And you can see that directly as he has his old model. Like, he's... First of all... Like, is he frozen right now? They don't have idle animations for them? Like, he can walk, sure, but... He's not moving an inch when he's standing like that. Holy shit. I mean, Scarlet has her, like, the generic idle animation where they breathe a bit, but nope, he does not do anything. There are a bunch of chests here on the side. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Still don't know what this bloodshot eye animation is supposed to be. But this is definitely one of the better fights in this game. Fun fight. No real bullshit mechanic. There's one iffy mechanic where he tries to shoot projectiles and then in the last moment spins a bit. But let's see, I wanna... Now I wanna see his... Yeah, look at these cool spells, like... God damn. Let the player use these spells, please. They look so amazing. Like arcane spells. Yeah, he's stupid as fuck. He is also not that much defense. Like Scarlet definitely has more defense. And she's also, I think, dealing... Yeah, she's dealing a bit more damage. Come on, do more spells, Arcane. Ah. They take so long, holy shit. Woo! Now's your chance. He's buffing. Phase 2, basically. Yeah, good idea to not attack him there. I mean, he takes less damage, but still, yeah, and Arcane is already dead. I don't think Scarlet can do this. She's not dodging at all. And he now has more defense. Kinda reminds me of a Dark Souls 3 spell. Like this, what is it called? Something of the Deep, or maybe it's like a... It's a miracle, it's a deep miracle, so to speak, where it's a body buff. Similar to Sacred Oath, just not as an AoE. Kinda reminds me of that. It's basically a dark Sacred Oath. Ooh, she dodged. Amazing. Nah, you're rolling at the wrong... Unfortunate. Oh, I guess I can turn off the HUD now. Let's quickly get rid of Feldstadt here. And with quickly I mean it takes a while, because he's probably fairly resistant to dark damage, and now also resistant to physical damage because of his buff. Holy shit, how much? Okay. I'm dealing as much damage as my summons. A bit more, but still. Not even at the 100 damage mark. But yeah, he's a fairly cool boss fight. Because I think you can parry his attacks. Maybe not his two-handed one, I don't know about that, but... he has no real bullshit attacks. Some of them have questionable hitboxes, sure. This is the spell that I mean, which is a bit bullshitty, because he kinda turns a bit at the end when he fires it. Come on, can I... want to do that again? Come on, do your projectile attack, thank you. Now let's see how he turns. Huh? This time he doesn't. Yeah. But I got instances where I could swear that I got hit by that attack while standing behind him. Oh. And I just turned off the music right there. Oof. Yeah, this was Feldstadt. Oh, that looks amazing from here. This is definitely going to be my thumbnail image. Oh, I wish I could... Okay, after this recording, I'm trying to somehow lock the camera to this place, and I'm running back there and turn on a torch or something. I don't know. That looks nice. But yeah, back to the world design. Because over here, first of all, we have Vendrick. For some reason, he thought it was a good idea to take off his armor. But he has still his crown on the head. Great, right? Yeah, he's running around naked, basically, just with a crown on its head, and he's hollow. What a sorry sight. But what interests me more is this room. This looks eerie. This it should be pitch black room with these old man statues. Seemingly going on endlessly. With a few... I need to... Okay, it's the hooded figure again. On these things, well, what are they called again? On these columns? Is that a column? I don't know. Excuse me, can you go away? And then we have these unnatural looking spotlights on the ceiling, I guess. This is where the ceiling is. This is probably... Is this supposed to be light breaking through the ceiling? Or is it supposed to be something entirely different? Looks eerie though. But strangely enough, we have music in this room. Let's see where it stops. Oh, it's just for Vendrick, okay. I guess it's his hollowed theme. Yeah. I mean, that's a bit loud, I don't know. Like, this also feels like a room like the pitch black room that we got at the beginning, basically. Just this time, this feels more like a void. But what is this part of this area? That's my question. Why is there a spotlight here? This is where Velstadt was, but is there? No. His halo is still here, I guess. Weirdly enough. Yeah, where's this coming from? Where's the spotlight coming from? There's no hole in the ceiling or anything. Like, it's just Velstadt's holy spotlight, I guess. But yeah, is this the final resting place room of all of the kings of this area, or is it for the nobles? Well, I don't know. Kind of feels like it, right? These are all the kings that came before him. Like, and for every king they add another statue in this endless void. That could be a cool theme. But yeah, we are at the end. Let's talk a bit about what we've seen. Especially, let's start with the world design this time. I'm starting with the world design. I think, with a few exceptions, it's a pretty solid area with a pretty solid look. I mean, it's a crypt, right? It's a place of the dead, and it looks accordingly. We have this cool, at least headcanon for me, like this cool dark place, or this this black void that we cross when we first enter this place, like from the basically the entrance. Like, as I said, I think of this place like from the bonfire to the room where Agdane and his grave wardens are. This is like the entrance area. and then you cross this bridge and you enter the realm of the dead. My headcanon might not be true, but I like this thought. That looks pretty nice. And it doesn't matter if it's like realistic that you would build something like this. Like, there must be some kind of ground there, surely, right? It can't be the void, but maybe it is the void. Or do you build in there? It doesn't matter. In a place like this, it doesn't matter. It's a seemingly magical place, and it's part of magic, right? Building this, and there it's fine. I feel like it's kind of fine in places like these to build fantastical structures, or having fantastical structures. Well, maybe not. I don't know. And then we have a few things like this weirdest bridge that you can let vanish. Basically, is kind of silly that you. And this hole that you have to drop down, it's very gamey again, like very game level design-ish, which is a bit silly. But overall, the world design of this place is great, and the visual storytelling as well. Even though it might not be the intended thing, where like the Lydia pyromancers and witches are the guardians. They are not supposed to be the guardians. These are intruders or something like this from the item description, but that's not the visual storytelling. Like, and by the way, I can see a butterfly there now. They really sprinkle these butterflies everywhere. But if they wanted to tell that story where you have this this conflict between the Grave Wardens and the Ladia dudes, or dudettes, whatever, then you definitely need to have these two factions fight each other here, or maybe some imagery that where you can see that these are not belonging to the same purpose, so to speak. And I guess you need to change this mechanic with the headstones or something. Maybe not. It's all a part of the visual storytelling, and it depends on what you want to tell with the storytelling, with the visuals, right? Maybe the Grave Wardens just accepted that now the lady are in here, they're not causing any harm. They might be a bit misled, right? They have maybe different beliefs, or they're just using this place, this magical place, to make themselves immortal somehow, maybe with the stones, but it's not really conveyed correctly then. Now let's go over to the level design. Because the level design itself, the layout of the level is pretty linear, right? You have two branches, maybe three if you count this very small ladder inside of the area with the tombstones, but there is not. They are not very. You just have one path, one correct path to the end. There's not like you can take three different ways. There are not three different ways of getting here, so it's a fairly linear experience, which is fine. I mean, I personally like linear experiences a bit more, just because I don't have to backtrack to grab every single item. But there is definitely an appeal to levels that are designed so that you can take different routes through the level and still get to the final destination. But I guess if you're building a completely linear level, that's fine too. I mean, it really depends on the world design, how you build something like this. If it makes sense for the structure or the area you're walking through, if it makes sense to make it a more diverse path, or give the player multiple paths or not. Then let's talk about the few mechanics they try to implement. Oops, I just misfired there. Because again, they're mechanics. They have interesting ideas with the undead calling or ringing the bells, calling the pyromancers that also use magic. It's an interesting idea, but it feels like it's not a fun idea. Like for the player, it's not fun. On paper, it sounds amazing. Like you have these undead that rise from their grave when the player comes too close or intrudes in their room. Then they ring this bell that is supposed to punish the player by summoning these ghosts that attack them, and then you build this level, and all of a sudden you notice, oh, that is not really that much fun. It's like, is it really necessary to put like 3 or 4 stones in one room? Is 1 stone or maybe 2 at max not enough? Like, how many do you need? Why are there so many bells in this room? Like, isn't 1 or 2 bells enough? Like, come on. Why do we need like 6 or 7 bells in one room? Isn't that a bit much? And why are they in the middle of the room? Why not like on the walls or something? Right? Like the level design loses me a bit, or the enemy placement and mechanic placement design loses me a bit. And then we have the mechanic with the light, which is okay-ish. Like summoning the red phantoms is they could have used something else, like not a phantom but an in-game enemy, so to speak, because phantoms for me are just like, it's a multiplayer mechanic, or it's a pseudo multiplayer mechanic, something like this. It doesn't feel like like I wish they would summon a not red phantom-esque enemy. The mechanic is fine. They could have made that a bit more like present, so that the player has to light more things. But I really would like for them to explore this thing with don't produce light. That would be an interesting mechanic, like where it's too dark to see and you have to walk around with a light and you have to light torches to be able to see certain things, like this. A bit more interesting. But it's okay, like they've tried something, but it feels kind of half-assed, or in the case with the bells, a bit exaggerated. Like they went overboard with it, I feel like, where in some aspects they like underperformed. This one was overperformed, so to speak. Like they went over their goal. Like, if you get what I mean. Item placements, whatever. Is there an interesting item down here with a staff? I guess the more interesting items come from the enemies here that you can farm. Is there the Evelyn? The Evelyn, I think, is in here, if I remember correctly. Quickly see. Oops, what did I just... normal is fine. I like normal, that's good. Is the Evelyn in here? Yeah, I think you can... There are a few good things in here, so... That's good. Something missing. No, I don't think so. This is definitely one of the better areas in this game, even though it might not be that fun. It looks great. They definitely have some interesting ideas here compared to the previous area. This is a big step up. Like the previous area was like, ugh. I don't want to play another. Like, I don't want to go through another lake with mages in them. This one is okay-ish. It's definitely easier to navigate and stuff, but it's still far from perfect. But yeah, let me know what you think about this area, and let me quickly think where we are going next, because technically... Oh no, of course, no, we're going to Aldia's. what is it called? Olias. His thingy. That's the next area. Happy about that because that's a strange place. But yeah. Oh yeah. Hello. Right, she's here.
This ring is the symbol of the king.
True.
Use it to gain passage through the king's gate and venture to the far east. Bearer of the curse.
Venture to the far east, like.
And one day you will walk those without really knowing.
Yeah, I already don't know why. Far east. I don't have a compass with me, lady. I I don't know where the far east is. I know where to go next, but that she appears here to give exposition is a bit. What the fuck? Like, okay, I can go through the gates. I can probably read them. I guess it's better than reading in the item. Reading the item description. That's right. But she could have waited for me at the bonfire in Manjula. But yeah, this was today's episode. I hope you liked it, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye.